You aren't afraid of rejection. You're afraid of what rejection reveals about you. When we get rejected, it's not the best feeling. It sucks. Think about the time when you got rejected from a job. You had a tryout and you didn't make the team. And the one that most men can relate to, getting rejected by a girl that you really, really like. Those feelings suck. Think about that feeling. You're sad after, just thinking, wow, I got rejected by the girl that I really liked. Am I not her type? Does she not like me? Am I not good enough? And it hurts. It genuinely hurts. Rejection isn't a nice feeling. But what if I told you that it's not that it's not the rejection, like her saying no, that hurts. It's not the girl, it's not the job, it's not the team. It's that feeling of not being good enough, whether it's, and I'd say this more for sports and school, because that's more so kind of an area for improvement, and that's because it says more about more about you. But rejection reveals something within you. It clashes with your identity, your ego, and especially for men, our ego is everything to an extent. The way we view ourselves, that feeling of, being the man, we latch on to that a lot. I have, especially in my teenage years, I wasn't the most confident, and I hated going out of my comfort zone. I hated approaching girls. I hated feeling inadequate, and every time I'd get rejected, it hurt me. It genuinely hurt, because I had this idea of who I was. I had this idea of what I wanted to do with my life, and if I got rejected, it genuinely felt like hell on earth. But the moment I started to shift this mindset, the moment I started to finally just tell myself, hey, rejection is information. Rejection is something that you can use to better yourself. Instead of me thinking that every time I approach a girl, it's a risk, it's a risk of me getting hurt. I saw it as an opportunity to improve my skill of approaching, just going up to the girl. If I get rejected, who cares? And if I do get the number, fuck it, we ball, bro. Fuck it, we ball. But that being said, if you frame rejection as, I'm improving myself, I'm getting out there, I'm putting in the reps, then you will get so much more out of life. Because as I said in the beginning of the video, it's not the rejection that you hate, it's that feeling of inadequacy. But what if I told you that rejection is actually a step towards, that inadequacy that you feel is actually a step towards you feeling adequate? You getting the girl, you getting a better test score, you getting to that team. Because you've got to face yourself. As I said, you've got to face yourself. When you face yourself, that's when you can genuinely grow. You aren't gonna grow if you just sit back and just watch life happen. You gotta take life by the fucking balls. And I know, bro, fucking squeeze that shit, bro. Squeeze those balls and go after what you want. Because I'm telling you, if you want a certain result, let's say you wanna grow a YouTube channel, you want to gain however much muscle in the gym, you need to go out and fucking do it. You need to do the actions required for you to do it. You want to get a girlfriend, you got to start talking to more girls. You got to take action. And it doesn't matter if you get rejected, bounce back. Because as I said, like, if you get one thing out of this video, this is what I want to say. Rejection isn't proof that you're not good enough. Rejection is you putting in the works, you practicing. Even if you don't get the best result in whatever it is, it's you. Like, look at rejection as practice. Because let's say, bro, Kobe, like your favorite athlete, they're not gonna make every fucking shot, bro. Cristiano Ronaldo, my favorite athlete of all time, I'm a big soccer guy. He is probably the best player in the world. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you think it's Messi. I don't care if you think it's someone else. Cristiano Ronaldo, he doesn't make every shot, but he's probably arguably one of the best players of all time. So you think you can make every shot? You know? No, exactly. So think of it like that. Think of it as reps. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment. Peace.